Okay, let's talk about it again. Now you have seen it, you know your topic, you know what to do. I hope you have understood that in this handout, this is section B, right? Yes or no? All right. In this handout, the planner that I have shared with you, there are different colors. Do you understand the significance of the colors? It tells you your group. It's an individual task, of course, but you're in a form of a group. The reason that there are different eras, and all those eras must be completed within that time frame that has been given to you. As you can see, some of the eras have been given 2 dates, some of the eras have 3 dates as well. That simply entails that some of you will take a lot of time, some of you will only come here, touch this rostrum and leave, yes, and some of you are going to give ample examples and take more time. So for that matter, I have left some room for discussion and everything, yes. So if there are 2 dates given, which means that half of the students are going to present on one date, that is going to be the first one, the first half, and the second half is going to present on the second date. Sometimes there will be students who won't be able to deliver quite properly, or they might, forgive my word, present poorly. I'll be adding those points which are important for you to know. So these classes, these presentations are not just presentations for the sake of evaluation. These presentations are part of your NTEM syllabus as well, and you need to know those things as well. For example, one of you comes here and you present about Renaissance, yes, and you have talked about the general characteristics or historical background, sociological, economical, psychological background. You need to make those notes at your own as well, the way you have been making so far. For each era you have made some notes, right? Similarly, you're going to make notes for each of the era that are going to be presented by your classmates, right? Second of all, the most important thing is that you need to understand that literature can be approached, especially the history can be approached through different ways. One of the ways is that I have told you, the very basic one, in which I have simply told you to go for psychological, historical, sociological, etc. kind of perspectives. The other way is the assignment that you can see at the moment, that you break down each and everything, characteristics, themes, genres, poets, novelists, and then there are other ways as well. For example, if we want to study uh, history of English literature, we can take a look at the origins of each individual genres available. For example, if we take a look at dramas, we are going to talk about from medieval English literature to 20th century, or maybe post 20th century, because drama came in medieval English literature and it evolved, it kept on changing. So some of the genres will be highlighted in certain eras only. For example, for Anglo-Saxon and medieval English literature, you will predominantly find poetry to be there. But if you go to Renaissance and 17th century, you will find poetry, of course, sonnets, and so many experimental poetic structures would be there. And you will see the uprise or rise of drama. And within drama, you will have Elizabethan drama, Jacobean drama, Augustan drama, and then so many categories are there. You understand? This is how you can also approach literature. So most of the presenters, they are supposed to make the comparisons as well. For example, one of you are presenting the dramatists of Victorian period, they need to make the comparison of Victorian period with the previous period as well. For example, drama in 20th century was like this, and in post 20th century it is like this. So some comparison has to be there. To be precise, to make it more clearer to you, you can understand by this that if you're comparing and contrasting, or if you're talking about medieval English literature or its poetry only, you will make a comparison with Anglo-Saxon poetry with the help of medieval English literature ki poetry, and then you compare and contrast that Anglo-Saxons were only talking about noble people, loyal people, royal people for that matter. However, in medieval English literature, you will have artistic touch, you will have other experimental topics and themes in it. So this is how you can add to your talk time. The time limit that I've given you is to each individual, each presenter must talk for 10 minutes at least, and you can go up to 15 minutes, not more than that, right? This is your second point. Third point is that your assignment, your typed assignment, it has to be a detailed one. It has to be a detailed one. Whatever topic you have been assigned, as you can see in this particular planner that is available in your Google Classroom in major assignment section, you have to write on it. For example, your topic is poets of medieval English literature. You're going to talk about the general characteristics of the poetry that pertaining to medieval English literature only, because poetry in general is something else. But if you attach medieval English literature or Renaissance or Romanticism with it, you will have specified kind of characteristics there. Yes. Then you're going to make a list of the poets as much as you can, and you're going to define, describe, give the names of the works and everything of at least 4 to 5. You understand? List could be more than 20. It is up to you. The list would include the name of the poem and the poet's name and year of publication. That's the list. You can make a table for it. But you need to explain at least 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, whatever you can handle within 10 or 15 minutes. You understand? The next point that you need to understand is the PowerPoint thing, or the blackboard or the whiteboard or a chart or a handout. You can use any one of these. It carries 2 marks. This tool will carry 2 marks. You can make a PowerPoint. You can arrange the multimedia. That is one choice. Second choice is to make a chart. But chart and the material written on it should be very much visible to the rest of the audiences. It shouldn't be like as if you have written it on your copy and you have posted it here, and it doesn't make sense. It is of no use. Third option could be that you simply use the board, but you have to use board intelligently. You can't just, waste your 7 minutes just writing on it and facing the board all the time. That's not how presentations work. So you need to calculate the risks of using any of these tools according to your needs and the techniques that you can apply. One of the most important, or I say would be easy for you to manage, is a handout. You make an outline of everything that you're going to share in the class with the students or the audiences, and you share it with a group of 3 people. You don't get much photocopies, all right? You just get 17 to 18 photocopies, and 3 people can share, and you can refer to your handout time and again. And if you have to read some definition or you need to memorize, it's not easy to memorize the lines sometimes. If you're explaining a poem, you won't be able to memorize it. So you can put that poem in that handout. That is also a possibility. It is up to you what you want to do. You understand? Yes. It carries 2 marks. I will see how you utilize it. You should be very confident about your way of teaching. Teaching, it's not teaching, it's sharing. So this comes to a point, this takes me to a point where I have to declare that from now on, I will not be speaking in the class. I won't be participating as per se. I won't be feeding you everything. Yes, you're going to feed everything to your classmates and me. Yes, if you miss something which is definitely important, I will definitely make that clearer to you. And yes, after each module or era, or after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'll be making comparison and contrasts between and among all the things that you have discussed. For example, one of you have talked about the miracle, mystery and moral plays of medieval English literature, and one of you have talked about the Elizabethan dramas, right? Separately. What I will do is I will tell you what are the major differences and similarities between them. If one of you would like to do that, that's great. If you were unable to do that, then I'll do that. Right? The reason I wanted to take these 2 classes consecutively, because I wanted to share a full-fledged, a rough kind of a outline of entire history of British English literature, so that I can let you know what's there. If you remember, when we started these eras, I wanted to go through the entire of it. I wanted to share Anglo-Saxon, medieval, Renaissance and everything, but you guys were so confused and scared and at the same time that I thought I should go slow and one by one. But it is important to understand that there are so many overlappings found. Some of you will present general characteristics of an era, and another person would come and they would talk about the poets, and they would have similarities. You understand? Of course, the themes are the same, and they are going to just mention the poets or the writers. So they are going to be overlappings for sure. I wanted to clarify those overlaps within that 2 hours or 3 hours of a class, I would have asked you to sit together and chalk out a plan individually and then as a group, not to overlap, but you refuse to come. So that's a problem. So on this Friday, coming Friday, you're going to do this. You're going to share your action plan with me. As you can see, some of the students are highlighted, right? In each group, they are the moderators. What they have to do is they have to finalize. They are going to take individual action plan from each one of those group members, and then they are going to staple it together. They don't have to make it again. It will be a great effort if they can type it down for me. If not, then it's okay. You can just, ask them to type individually, and then you can staple it and share it with me. I need, once you are presenting, for example, the medieval English literature people would present next week to next week, right? What you have to give me is a PowerPoint or any tool that you're going to use in the class, in the action plan. You're going to upload your assignment, full-fledged assignment, by Sunday, and you're going to give me a hard copy of it as well. You understand? Once you're presenting, I will take a look at the tool that you're using, be it a PowerPoint or a board or anything. I will take a look at your assignment as well, and then I will look at your oral presentation as well. And then and there, I will award you the marks. You understand? Yes. The write-up has 5 marks, 4 marks, I guess. Let me check. The assignment, the written assignment has 4 marks. 1 mark is given to the tool that you're going to use and how you're going to use, or you're just going to come here and read from your handout. You are going to do that, some of you. And 5 marks for your oral presentation. Some of you in previous presentation came here, they came with their handout and they were like, and they couldn't read from their own write-up as well. That's not what I'm looking for. Yes, I'm not looking for a speech. You read it as a story, that these are the 5 points that I'm going to talk about. For example, 5 characteristics of an era, and you write those down, maybe bullet points or sentences, and then you talk about it at your own. I'm not asking you to learn it by heart. Of course, some of the names and things you can write down, or you can share a handout. That's fine. But the material, the summary, the definition, the explanation, you should be able to speak at your own. If you're unable to do that, or you think it's a big deal, what you can do is you can learn it by heart. But you shouldn't be here and looking at your notes and just reading. That's not what is required. You understand so far? Yes. So these things have been clarified. Any other question that comes to your mind? Now that individual action plan that you will show me right now, I will explain it to you then and there. Usually what I will do is that if you have been assigned poets, essayists, novelists or something like that, you're supposed to make the list of the most famous ones from the era, and you're just supposed to explain or present 2 or 3 or maybe 4 if you can handle. The best way to do is that you bring 2 essays, yes, to meet that talk time. Some of you won't be able to speak for 10 minutes. So it's easy and it's convenient for you to bring an essay. You read that essay, you share it with the class as well, and then you analyze it. For what? For the structure, for the themes, for anything that is striking about it. And in order to make that more clearer, you can make the comparison of this particular essay with the previous era's essay. For example, if you're talking about the essays of Victorian period, you can make a comparison with the Victorian essay with a romantic essay, how they were different, what were the differences, how can you so it is dependent on you. You want to bring only Victorian essay, that's also okay. You want to make a comparison, that's also okay. You want to bring the analysis and read it with the class, that's also okay. The point is not that you have to do the analysis or you should know how to do the analysis. The point is that you should be able to convey that how the essay has been written and what kind of an analysis with the help of the era's characteristics, right, could be made, whether there is symbolism or not. For example, in Anglo-Saxon, there is symbolism but at very low quantity. But if you move towards Romanticism, everything is symbolism. And then you move forward to 20th century, everything becomes so complex that it becomes somehow difficult for students at your age to understand the complexity at its own, because it has symbolism, it has classicism, it has realism, it has naturalism, it has personal views, it has neutralized views, it has everything to offer, the modern English literature. You understand? So this is how you're going to attempt your major assignment. It carries 10 marks, and if you perform well, I'm willing to give you 10 out of 10. You understand? I'm willing to do that. Your efforts should be shown. That's all. That's all I ask. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, go ahead. It is up to you. Yes. In write-up, if you want to add more other than your topic assigned to you, it's okay, because it's an assignment. It's a write-up. You just want to write what you're going to present, that's also okay. There will be no plus points for it, no negative points for it. You must answer that particular topic that is against your name. That should be there. And if you want to add some lavazima, that's all right. You can do that. Right? Second question?
The second question में जैसे मेरा topic है common literary forms. इसके नीचे आपने हर एक topic पे drama poetry.
Okay, so the question that Kiran has asked, that her topic is the different genres and forms available in that particular era, and then the rest of the students have been given to talk about poets separately, essays separately, and novelists and etc. What she's going to talk about is, you're going to talk about the genres. Not all of the genres are famous in that particular era. You're not going to discuss poets individually. You're not going to discuss essayists individually, but you're going to discuss that poetry was at peak, drama was following it, but essay was nowhere to be found, short stories were nowhere to be found, novels were still struggling. And in order to strengthen your argument, you can add one piece of literature if you would like, one poem, one novel, for an example. Yes, you can make a list in your assignment as much as you want, but in order to explain it within 10 to 15 minutes, you can take one poem and you can mention it. You understand? This is how you talk about the genres, and you can compare and contrast with the previous era. Yes, any other question?
मेरा क्वेश्चन है हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड ऑफ रिस्टोरेशन एंड क्लासिसिज्म, तो मैंने इनको कंपेयर करना है इंडिविजुअली दोनों को.
It is up to you. Your Hinza? Urva, what you have to do is, beta, you're going to talk about restoration period and neoclassicism. What were the characteristics, who were the famous people, and why it came into being. And in order to answer that why it came into being, you have to make a comparison with the previous era as well. Right? Every era that you will face in this semester or course is the result of a previous era. Everything that is developed eventually has a background which is definitely having deep roots in the previous era. Yes, Anglo-Saxons has the roots of medieval English literature, right? Renaissance has the roots of Middle English literature. So everything is connected. And one more thing, as I've told you, I might have told you already, that literature can be approached through many different ways. One is that is given to you, one is looking at the origin of each genre, and another is there, isms, ISM isms. If you look at the isms and political movements and sociological movements, they can also give you an outlook of the entire history of British English literature. You understand? Naturalism, realism, neoclassicism. So ism is also a categorization that could be used to approach literature. And if you have been assigned with poets, essayists, and etc., I want you to mention as much as you can, but I want you to discuss the most famous ones, right? For example, you are supposed to talk about Victorian poetry. So you can simply write Victorian poets, and the first 5 poets that you can see on Google, you are going to discuss about those, and list तो आप जितनी चाहें आप बता सकते हैं. You understand? जो famous हो, booklets में से भी, books में से भी देखें कि किन को highlight किया गया है, और उनके बारे में आप 4 से 3 के बारे में बात करेंगे. right? You understand? Now you can make your action plan clearly. Yes, the reason I'm giving you more time is because once you take a look at the material that you're supposed to go through, you will have a clearer mindset or structure, how to structure your assignment or presentation, or which tool you are going to use. It is only then be cleared. So go ahead, take a look at the material available in Google Classroom and elsewhere and make an action plan. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. On Friday, I will give you some time, and then each individual will have to show me their action plans, because by next Monday we are going to have our presentation. As far as deadline is concerned, that when you are supposed to submit, each individual is supposed to submit their assignments and PowerPoint and action plan, you must do it before Sunday evening. Each individual, even if your era is 20th century, you understand, it is only then going to be fair. You understand? Because if medieval English literature only has to make notes and everything, what are you going to do? You are going to meet the deadline, that is Sunday evening, 7 p.m. On Monday, I will take your name if you have not submitted. Hard form can be submitted on the day of presentation. You understand? Right? Or you can do it on Monday only. I can bring it myself whenever your presentation is due. What do you suggest? No suggestions? Okay, let me think. Okay, on GC you have to upload it on 7 p.m. on Sunday, but the hard copy that you're supposed to submit, you are supposed to submit on the day of your presentation. For example, in any one of the groups have been given 2 dates, then on first date you have to submit the entire thing. You understand? The second half won't wait for the second day. Sometimes it will take little time and you will have more time, so you have to bring your hard form as well, right? So what you're going to upload on GC on Sunday, by Sunday evening, your assignment, your action plan. If you're going to use PowerPoint, then PowerPoint or a handout or anything. You're going to clarify it in your assignment by Sunday, 7 p.m. Any other questions?
I have a question. Okay, we can exchange our action plans with our group members, but the thing is, how can we avoid overlapping? मतलब उससे थोड़ा बहुत हो जाएगा, but फिर भी थोड़ा सा तो आएगा ना, because
definitely overlapping is going to be there, and that is why I wanted to take 2 classes. I will repeat again that I would have given you enough ample time to clarify those overlapping things that we are going to do on Friday. Once you are clear, once you have taken a look on everything that has been assigned to you, you know what you want to talk about, then I will make you sit in the groups, and then you can talk about how to minimize the overlapping thing. For example, Kiran had a very valid question that if she's going to talk about the genres and the next people are going to talk about the poets and everything again, it is going to be repetitive. So they are going to decide that Kiran is going to talk about one poet which they are not going to talk about. You understand? That is why I needed to have 3 hours straight, so that you can chalk it out today, here, right now, and you're ready for your presentations. So that's okay. On Friday, we'll do it. And not on this Friday, it's on Monday, beta. Isn't it? It's written here? Okay, I can correct that. Because I had in mind that we will have 2 classes. Yes. Oh God. Again, it's your fault, not my fault. No, the fault of people who are absent. Yes? Because मेरे माइंड में यही था कि आज हम ये क्लैरिफाई, ठीक है, मैं उन डेट्स को चेंज करके इसको अपडेट कर देती हूँ, राइट? डेट्स थोड़ी सी ऊपर नीचे हो जाएंगी. एंड येस, इफ गॉड फॉरबिड्स यूनिवर्सिटी बंद होती है, गॉड फॉरबिड कोई खामखा की छुट्टी आ जाती आती है. So be mentally ever ready to give presentation ever and ever. For example, your presentation is due tomorrow and for some reason university is closed. Don't think that you're going to have your turn later. It is going to happen in a sequence, because it is only going to make sense if we talk in a sequence. If we won't do that, it will be a khichdi that will have no namak, mirch and masala, and it will be टूटे हुए चावलों की खिचड़ी. to be precise. Yes, so we are going to have it in sequence. For example, tomorrow was your presentation, but you can't the university is not open and it can't happen, so you're going to do it in the very next class, whenever it is going to take place. Maybe a mega class, maybe in the regular class. You should be always ready. I shouldn't have to remind you, I shouldn't have to ask you the reason, and you shouldn't be telling me मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था. Right? These things should not happen. You understand? Any other question?
मैम जो हमारा राइटअप होगा वो हम मतलब हम लोग लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल कोई प्रेजेंट कर रहा है, उन्होंने डिटेल टेक्स्ट जो भी लिखा है तो हमें वो मिल सकता है?
Of course. You mean to say that Kiran has a different topic, you have a different topic, and you want to have her assignment as to read or essay some. Yes, that is the purpose of the entire thing. Eventually, all the assignments with proper feedback, if they need, changes, I will ask the concerned student to make the changes, and they will be made available to you by each module, by the end of each module. You understand? This will help you become a better reader, because once the way a student writes is different the way a book writes. Yes, so आपको help करेगी. और yes, that doesn't mean कि आप हाथ पे हाथ धर के बैठ जाएं तो नोट्स तो मिल जाने मैं वही कर लूँगा. उस केस में क्या प्रॉब्लम होगी? that all of you will write similar kind of things, and that will be a problem. Yes, the reason you should read the other's assignment to come up with more points, unique points. That is why you should read their assignment. You understand? To avoid repetition, to avoid so much of similarity thing. Yes? Any other questions?
I think मतलब मेरा डिफरेंस नहीं है मैम, जैसे जैसे बोर्ड पे प्रेजेंट करेगा तो साथ साथ नोट्स अपने बना चाहिए.
Absolutely, lovely. That is what I want to say, and I would recommend. I wanted to actually observe it at my own, but since you have brought it up, so it's okay. I usually observe students, right? And some of you do not make any notes. You are in habit of taking the ready-made notes and read it and write it, and that's okay. That's a practice. That is not something wrong. That is not something unethical or etc. But this is a good habit. For example, one of you is presenting and you make notes, and once you go home, you take a look on the relevant module and you read it at your own. That's a better choice. But for some of you who need help, there are some of you who really does need help. So for them, I'm going to make these assignments available. Yes, by the end of the semester.
I asked because कोई बंदा अगर 10 marks की presentation 10 minutes में देगा, it's a lot of information and you cannot catch up on it in the class. तो उससे करने के लिए बात.
हाँ, and for that I have also told you that you must make your notes for each module the way you have been making, and you're going to upload those in the relevant weeks. अपने नोट्स आप बनाना बंद नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन इनके जो बच्चे नोट्स बनाएंगे वो भी आपसे शेयर कर दिए जाएंगे. यस, ऑलराइट जी. Yes, please. I can give you one liberty. If you don't want to write a literary essay, you can write it the way you want to write it. If you write just bullet points and words and everything, then I will give you marks in bullet points only. Yes, it's a detailed assignment. The reason you have been given one section of the entire module that I want your detailed input. So best case scenario is a literary essay, not literary then an essay, a generic essay. Yes, but if you want to make some points, for example, if you're going to give a list of poets and their works and years, then you can make a simple table. That's also all right. But the 4 poets that you're going to extensively talk about should have 4 different paragraphs talking about their works and particular poem that you're going to discuss. Length should be, it depends on you. That is also part of evaluation. Some of you will just give me a half page. Yes, and then they will give 0.5. Yes, please understand the maqsad, the aim of this assignment is to get you familiarized with the entirety of history of English literature, which is not possible, yes, but it's not impossible as well. When I say it's not possible and not impossible, I mean that there is a gray area, and that is what we are trying to do to come up with relevant material. Of course, if I feel that one module has not been completed correctly or there are some points missing, I will make that very clear to you, and you can make those notes at your own. Therefore, you need to go through it, and you can pinpoint as well. Don't pinpoint the presenter. Talk to me. Tell me, ma'am, I think this is more important and this has not been covered in the class, and then I can share it with the rest of the class. Yes? Any other question? For the material, the 3 books that I have given you, the core text, you can share, you can use those, or you can take help from any other resource. बस उसको आप इनकॉपरेट कर दें, यानी मेंशन कर दें. ठीक है? और कोई क्वेश्चन? आप पढ़ें, खोलें. जब बेटा पढ़ोगे तो समझ आएगी ना, कि नहीं? पढ़ेंगी. देखिए, इसीलिए आपको मैं टाइम दे रही हूँ. फ्राइडे को आप पढ़ के आए, नहीं समझ आएगी तो फिर मैं आपको बताऊँ.